Hey, Excel Edge Realty fans, welcome to the Deep Dive. This one's custom made for our Filipino listeners, especially those taking the leap into homeownership or maybe exploring property investments for the first time.
Exciting
It
times.
is. I'm Lex,
And I'm Vera.
and we're your hosts from the Excel Edge podcast show
You probably already know us.
for our love of mid to high ticket real estate here in the Philippines.
That's right.
And today, we're diving deep into a topic that's super important for anyone venturing into the property market here, avoiding scams.
Gotta stay safe out there.
For sure. We'll be using FINMA Properties Guide, How to Avoid Real Estate Scams in the Philippines.
Great resource.
It is. But we're going beyond the basics today. Real-life stories, insights, the works. We want to make sure you've got what you need to make smart, safe choices.
Definitely. The Philippine real estate market is booming right now, which is fantastic.
It is.
But unfortunately, that attracts scammers looking to prey on eager buyers, especially first-timers.
It's like they can smell that excitement.
It's inexperience.
Right, so how do we spot these traps? What red flags should we be looking out for?
One of the most common and honestly terrifying scams is land title fraud. You find what seems like the perfect property, the price is right, the seller's charming.
Sounds too good to be true already.
It might be.
Yeah.
They show you this official-looking land title, but guess what? It could be fake. And I'm talking super convincing forgeries.
So how's someone who's not a lawyer supposed to catch that? Especially first-time buyers, they might not know all the legal ins and outs.
You're right, it's tricky. That's why verifying that land title with the Registry of Deeds is crucial. Don't just look at photocopies or digital versions. Get a certified true copy. Think of it like the property's birth certificate. Shows the whole ownership history, any encumbrances.
Encumbrances, what are those?
It's like claims or limitations on the property. A mortgage, for example,
Oh, okay.
or a lien, restrictions on how you can use the land, things like that.
So we've got this certified true copy. Now what?
Unless you're a lawyer yourself, have a professional look it over. They'll be able to spot those red flags, those forgeries that you or I might miss.
Makes sense. It's their job to protect you. So we've tackled fake land titles. What other scams should we be aware of?
Let's talk about unlicensed real estate agents.
Okay.
This one plays on trust. You meet someone, they seem knowledgeable, connected, maybe they even offer you a crazy good deal.
Alarm bells going off already.
But before you sign anything or hand over any money, verify their credentials.
So just ask for an ID.
Well, that's a start, but it's not enough. The Professional Regulation Commission, the PRC, they're the ones who license real estate agents in the Philippines. Their website has a searchable database, so easy to check if someone's legit.
That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we've got fraudulent titles, unlicensed agents, what else? What other tricks are out there?
All right, get ready for this one. Double selling.
Double selling.
Yep. One property sold to multiple buyers.
Seriously.
Aha.
But wouldn't the land titles show that?
They find ways. Forged documents, rushing through the process before the first sale is registered.
Wow. So how can we protect ourselves from that?
A lawyer specializing in real estate, that's your best bet. They can do a title search, not just checking the most recent entry, but digging into the whole history.
Okay, so definitely need a lawyer for peace of mind. What other craziness is out there?
Ever heard of ghost properties?
Ghost properties. Like haunted houses?
No, not ghosts in the literal sense. These are properties that sound amazing on paper. You see those online listings, but in reality, they don't exist, or they've been built illegally.
Wait, so how did that even work?
Sometimes it's photoshopped pictures,
Right.
fake brochures, using the names of legit developers to trick people.
So how do we avoid that?
Never buy a property you haven't seen with your own eyes, and don't just take the seller's word for it.
Right.
Check local government records, make sure that development has all the right permits and approvals.
So it's all about doing our homework, trusting but verifying.
Exactly. Don't be afraid to ask questions and investigate.
Okay, we've talked about fake titles, unlicensed agents, double selling, ghost properties. What else should we watch out for?
Last one for now. Inadequate disclosures.
Right.
This is when a seller hides or downplays crucial information. Maybe there's a legal dispute over the property, hidden charges, structural damage.
So it's like buying a used car where the seller forgets to mention the engine's about to blow up.
Exactly. Always demand full transparency, ask the hard questions, get everything in writing. And of course, have your lawyer review all documents before signing anything.
Okay, so that lawyer is really our best friend in all of this.
Absolutely. Your advocate, making sure you don't get taken advantage of.
All right, we've explored the scary stuff. Now let's talk about how to be proactive. How can our listeners, especially first-time buyers, stay safe in this market?
Excellent question. Let's look at some actionable steps from FINMA Properties, plus some insights from my experience in real estate.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Let's equip our listeners to make smart choices with confidence.
So where were we?
We were talking about FINMA Properties' advice on being a proactive buyer,
Right, and their first tip is all about verifying the property's legitimacy.
which we touched on earlier.
Yeah, but it's worth repeating. It's more than just glancing at a title.
It's about really digging deep into the property's history.
Exactly. Think of it like buying a used car.
You wouldn't buy one without checking its history.
Right. You want to know if it's been in any accidents, had major repairs? Same with real estate. Gotta know what you're getting into.
Okay, so how do we start this verification process? What's step one?
Registry of Deeds.
That's where all the official land titles are kept.
Yep. And don't rely on copies from the seller. Always request a certified true copy directly from the registry.
I know we mentioned that earlier, but remind us again, what exactly is a certified true copy?
It's the official document
Yeah.
with their seal and signature, like a birth certificate for the property. Shows the whole ownership history, all the encumbrances, no alterations or funny business.
You keep saying encumbrances. A lot of people get confused by that term.
Yeah, it can sound intimidating, but it's really just about understanding what strings might be attached to the property.
Okay, give me some examples. What kind of strings are we talking about?
Well, a mortgage, for instance. That means someone else has a financial claim on the property. Or a lien, which is a legal claim for unpaid debts. Or an easement, which gives someone else the right to use part of the property for a specific purpose.
So basically things that could limit your rights as the owner.
Right. You might not be able to use or sell the property as freely as you thought. That's why it's so important to know about any encumbrances up front.
So check that certified true copy carefully.
Exactly. It'll list all the encumbrances, and your lawyer can help you understand what they mean and how they might affect you.
Okay, so we've got our certified true copy. We've checked for encumbrances. What's next?
This one might seem obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people skip it.
I guess. Visit the property.
Exactly. See it with your own eyes.
Don't just rely on online pictures.
Right. Those can be deceiving. You need to walk through the space, get a feel for the neighborhood, make sure everything matches what was advertised.
It's like dating. You wouldn't commit to a relationship just based on someone's online profile.
Huh, exactly. You want to meet them in person, see if there's a spark. Same with a property.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
What else should we be looking for when we visit a property?
Ask questions. Lots of questions. If it's a condo, find out about the amenities, the maintenance fees. If it's a house, check the plumbing, the electrical, the roof. Don't be shy.
And this is especially important for pre-selling properties, where you're buying something that doesn't exist yet.
You got it. With pre-selling, you're relying on the developer's promises. So in addition to inspecting the site, really do your homework on the developer.
Look at their track record.
Exactly. Have they delivered on their promises in the past? Are they financially stable? Do they have all the necessary permits and licenses? Don't just take their word for it. Dig deeper.
Okay, so we've verified the property, we visited it, we're feeling good. What's next?
Now we move on to the legal stuff.
The part everyone loves.
Uh-huh. Right. But seriously, this is crucial. FINMA Properties emphasizes the importance of reading contracts carefully.
I know a lot of people get intimidated by contracts. They can be long, complicated.
I get it. But you don't need to be a lawyer to understand the basics. Focus on the key things.
Like what?
The purchase price, the payment terms, the completion date, any penalties for late payments, and any special conditions or contingencies.
So should we try to understand every single clause?
You don't need to memorize every legal term, but you should have a general understanding of what each section means. And if there's anything that's unclear, don't hesitate to ask. That's what your lawyer is for.
Which brings us to FINMA's next tip. Seek legal advice. Why is having a lawyer so important?
A good real estate lawyer is like your shield, protecting you from scams and legal pitfalls. They can help you verify titles, review contracts, negotiate better terms, and ensure that everything is done by the book.
So they're not just there for the final closing. Nope. They should be involved from the beginning, from the moment you start considering a property all the way to getting those keys in your hand.
They're your partners in this journey.
Exactly. And speaking of partners, let's talk about another important aspect of due diligence. Background checks.
We talked about this briefly with pre-selling properties, but it applies to sellers and agents too, right?
Absolutely. Information is power. Before you engage with anyone in a real estate transaction, Do your research. Google them. Look for online reviews. Check their track record with regulatory bodies like the PRC.
It's like doing a background check on a potential business partner.
Precisely. You want to make sure you're dealing with someone reputable and trustworthy.
Trust but verify.
Exactly. And don't just rely on one source of information. Look for patterns. And trust your gut instinct. If something feels off or if someone is being evasive, that's a red flag.
All right, so we've talked about the importance of verification, due diligence, legal advice. Now let's address something that's especially tempting for first-time buyers. Those deals that seem too good to be true. Ah, yes, those. We've all seen them. Properties priced way below market value. And it's tempting, right? Who doesn't love a bargain? But as the saying goes, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
So how do we avoid falling into those traps?
Fee Number Properties advice is spot on. Do your research and compare prices.
Don't just jump at the first low price you see.
Right. Take the time to understand what similar properties are selling for in that area. If something is priced significantly lower, there's probably a reason, and it might not be a good one.
So it's about understanding the market, knowing what a fair price is, and not letting our emotions get the better of us.
Exactly. Sometimes that excitement of a potential bargain can cloud our judgment. We need to stay objective and be willing to walk away if something feels wrong.
So even if that price seems amazing, if our gut is telling us something's not right.
Listen to your gut. It's better to be safe than sorry, especially when it comes to such a big investment.
Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, but before we wrap up, I want to circle back to the legal stuff one more time. I know it's not the most glamorous part of buying property, but it's so important to have that legal protection. So let's break it down a bit more.
Sounds good. Let's demystify the legal jargon and give our listeners a clear understanding of how lawyers can help them.
Perfect. Knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely. So let's start with one of the most important tasks that a real estate lawyer does: conducting title searches.
We talked about this a bit earlier, but go deeper. What exactly does a title search involve?
It's like an archaeological dig into the property's past. We're not just looking at the most recent entry on the title, we're going back in time, tracing the ownership, uncovering any hidden issues.
So they're looking for anything that could affect your ownership rights.
Exactly. Previous sales, mortgages, liens, easements, even legal disputes, anything that could potentially cause problems down the line.
So they're basically making sure there are no skeletons in the closet.
That's a great way to put it.
It sounds like having a lawyer skilled in title searches is like having a private investigator on your side.
Exactly. They're there to protect you and ensure you're making a sound investment. And once they've done that thorough title search,
What happens next?
then they move on to document verification,
Which is
scrutinizing every single document related to the transaction.
making sure everything is authentic and legally sound.
You got it. They're checking for any signs of forgery, missing information, making sure all the necessary signatures and approvals are in place. They're like forensic experts, carefully examining the evidence.
That's so reassuring. Okay, so the lawyer has done their due diligence. What's the next step?
They'll provide you with a legal opinion on the property's status.
So they're not just checking for problems, they're also interpreting the information and giving you advice.
Exactly. They'll assess the legal risks and opportunities and advise you on whether or not to proceed with the purchase.
So they're like a translator, helping you understand the legal jargon and make informed decisions.
That's a great way to put it. And they'll also help you understand and navigate those pesky encumbrances we talked about earlier.
Right, those strings attached to the property.
Exactly. They'll explain what they mean for your ownership rights and how they might affect your ability to use or sell the property.
So they're not just pointing out problems, they're also helping you find solutions.
Absolutely. They're there to guide you and protect your interests every step of the way.
Okay, so we've talked about title searches, document verification, legal opinions. What else falls under the lawyer's umbrella of responsibility?
They'll also ensure that all your transactions comply with Philippine laws and regulations, making sure all the permits are in place, guiding you through the registration process. They handle all the legal heavy lifting so you can focus on the exciting part, finding your dream home or investment.
It really sounds like having a lawyer is not just a good idea, it's essential, especially for first-time buyers.
I completely agree. They're your advocate, your guide, your protector. They'll make this process smoother and safer.
All right, well, let's shift gears now and talk about that exciting part, finding your dream home or that perfect investment property. But before we do, I want to remind our listeners about Excel Edge.
Yes.
We specialize in mid to high ticket real estate here in the Philippines.
And we're passionate about helping Filipinos achieve their real estate goals.
So if you're ready to make a move, whether it's your first home or a savvy investment, head over to www.xledge.com.ph. We'd love to hear from you.
We have a fantastic team of agents who can guide you through the process.
And connect you with those trusted legal professionals we've been talking about.
Exactly. We're here to support you every step of the way.
So check us out at excelledge.com.ph.
And stay tuned for the final part of this episode where we'll wrap everything up and leave you with some final thoughts and empowering takeaways. Don't go anywhere. And we are back for the final part of our deep dive.
We've covered a lot of ground today, haven't we?
We have, from those scary scams to all those essential steps for staying safe. It can seem overwhelming, but remember, knowledge is your shield. The more you know, the better prepared you'll be.
Exactly. So let's recap some of the key takeaways, especially for our Filipino first-time buyers and those just starting out with property investments.
First and foremost, don't be afraid to ask questions. Do your research, and if something seems off, get clarification.
Trust your gut, too.
Absolutely. If something feels wrong, it probably is.
Now, remind us again about those essential due diligence steps.
Verify the property's legitimacy. Get that certified true copy of the title, check for any encumbrances, visit the property in person, and do your background checks on everyone involved.
Seller, developer, agent, the whole team.
Exactly. Leave no stone unturned.
And those contracts, they can be scary.
I know, but take your time, read them carefully, and don't hesitate to get your lawyer's input.
They'll help you understand everything and make sure your rights are protected.
Exactly. Speaking of lawyers, can't emphasize enough how important it is to have one throughout this whole process.
They're your advocate, your guide, your protector.
Your real estate superhero.
Exactly. So to our listeners, especially those new to the Philippine real estate market, remember, you have the power to make smart, safe choices.
Don't let fear hold you back. There's so much opportunity out there, and with the right approach, you can achieve your real estate dreams.
And if you ever feel lost or unsure, reach out for help. FIMA Properties Guide is a great resource, and of course, our team at Excel Edge is always here to support you.
We're passionate about helping Filipinos navigate this market successfully.
Absolutely. We specialize in mid to high ticket real estate, so visit us at www.xledge.com.ph to learn more.
We've got a great team of agents ready to assist you.
And before we sign off, we'd love to hear from you. What are your tips for avoiding real estate scams? Share your thoughts on social media, and don't forget to hit that follow button for more episodes like this.
And please share this episode with anyone who might benefit from it. Let's spread the word and empower each other to make smart, safe choices.
Absolutely. Until next time, stay vigilant, stay informed, and happy investing.